What is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Sketchy Tech. My name is Temper Robin, and today we're going to be talking about acoustic treatment. So in a quest to keep improving what we do here at the studio, I've realized that my acoustic treatment in this room is no longer up to scratch. So I've phoned my friend Raymond, who's come in to help me, but I thought while he's here, we might as well get some proper information from a pro. So this is a two-part series. This is part one. Enjoy.
Cool. So, guys, we are sitting in the studio. We've had a look at the room and we've decided and come up with a plan of what we're going to do. But I thought while we have Raymond here in studio, we might as well take a second to ask some questions, some frequently asked questions that I know I've had before, and I'm sure Raymond you get a lot of the time, eh? Yes. So I'm going to kick off with the first question, and we had a little conversation about this before, but. Often when I'm talking to people, I've grown accustomed to using the term acoustic treatment, but people do often say soundproofing and all of that. Is there a difference?
Definitely, without a doubt. That's one of my biggest bugbears.
There's a pet peeve.
Yes, definitely a pet peeve. You can call it that. Is soundproofing effectively only handles the transgression of sound. Okay. You know, like if you think waterproofing. Waterproofing is stopping the water from coming through the building into your house or anything like that. Soundproofing is stopping the sound either going out or coming in.
Okay.
So, like for instance, an interrogation room in the police station or the CIA headquarters is soundproofed because you don't want anyone else hearing what's going on there.
Right.
That's soundproofing in its simplest form.
Yeah.
So we would call that the transgression of sound. So you're trying to stop the transgression of sound, but not treating the room within the sound within the room. Your acoustic treatment within the room treats the reverb within the room. So that's the echo sound that you have when you're doing a podcast or when you're listening to someone on the radio. You can hear, like nowadays, the guys are doing all their radio work at home because of Corona and that kind of stuff. You can hear some people have treated rooms and some people don't, because that's the reverb they're treating. They didn't soundproof the room. They put acoustic treatment within the room. Yes, sorry. Question number 2.
I know a lot of people want to know why parallel walls are a problem, and that's basically it, because of the standing waves. So
exactly. Parallel walls and standing waves. So if you've got parallel walls, your sound wave hits the wall and bounces back and travels backwards and forwards. That's what creates the reverb. Now, reverb times differ because of the size of the wall, differs because of the frequency of the wave, the length of the wave, everything. But I'm not going to get too technical here. What you'd like to do is you like to change the angle slightly, because then you don't get that standing wave that keeps carrying on left to right, left to right, left to right. And you get that from your floor to ceiling being the same, and you're getting it from parallel walls. So if you could just change the angle slightly, I know it's not always possible in your bedroom or in a normal environment, but you could do either a feature on the wall, like an extra drywall on the inside, to just tilt it a bit. That'll go a long way to reducing the reverb without having to treat everything.
Cool. Right. Let's look at question number 3.
Acoustic foam.
That's what I was going to ask, because when I started building my studio, I was like, oh, look at that. That's some foam. I'll use it. Or look at this. This is some cushion. I'll just cut it up. Is all foam the same, or can you use any foam?
It's not. Not all foam's equal. You have different densities. The more dense, the lower the frequency it'll absorb.
Okay.
So the less dense, the higher frequency. Now, foam already only really captures up to like your 500 hertz, somewhere around there. So for vocals, your acoustic foam is fine.
Yeah.
But if you're just getting any random yellow, light, cheap, nasty piece of foam, it probably isn't going to do what you're expecting it to do compared to the actual acoustic foam.
Right.
So acoustic foam is slightly more expensive than your normal foam, and obviously the undulating surface on the front really does help.
And that's this bit.
That's exactly it. That helps with diffusion as well as absorption, where the flat foam won't give you that.
Yeah.
But any rule of thumb, generally, the denser the better, especially with foam. But it will help to a certain extent if you chuck a few cushions in and that kind of stuff. It's helping because you're attracting different frequencies that you're being able to absorb with the different densities. So I often, I play around with, when I'm doing my fabric panels, I put different density panels insulation inside the panels, because you're just getting that ratio. You're absorbing a broader frequency of frequencies, really, a broader range of frequencies. Right, so that's the foam. Not all foams are created equal, but some's better than nothing. That's what I say.
Rather try something. So that brings us to our next one, which is pricing on panels. So I've got my little studio at home. I want to start recording at home. What should I be looking at as a rough sort of guideline in terms of pricing for panels?
Okay. The acoustic foam comes in generally under 1,000 Rand a square. Okay. But if you're going to mix it with bass traps, you're going to put some fabric panels. I work on a low-end budget of 1,000 Rand a square meter up to 2,000 Rand a square meter. Okay. So, for instance, you say you want 50% absorption on your walls. You work out you've got 20 square meters in your room. You want to do 10 square meters. You're looking at 10 to 20,000 Rand. Yeah. At a guess. Okay. You can work slightly cheaper if you just go foam, but you're also then worried about your low frequencies because you need to put bass traps in that cost a little bit more because they're thicker. Yeah. Gauge at 1,000 Rand a square. Don't skimp on price on acoustics. It pays it off in the long run. It really does.
I think a big thing, and that I found when editing, is if there's noises that I've got to take out, that adds an extra 15 to 20, if not an hour, to my editing time. Exactly. If I've got to do noise cancellation, if I've got to, listen to it 6 times to find for any errors, that all really is time consuming. Whereas if you treat your room correctly up front, you cut out a lot of that extra work time. But as we know, lots of us are beginners. We're getting into this for the first time. We don't have 20 grand laying around. What are some cool little maybe natural secrets. Home yes
let's call them secrets.
that we could do?
Okay, I've got a few little tricks up my sleeve. Obviously everyone off the bat can't afford acoustics, but you can do certain things within the room if you're starting a dedicated space for recording and voiceovers and that kind of stuff. We mentioned carpets earlier. Carpets are a good absorber. It obviously only absorbs the low frequencies, a lot like the foam. It's not going to stop bass or anything like that. But carpet's great for vocal range and that kind of stuff. Yeah. So put a carpet in. The thicker the better. Like your shaggy carpets are very cool. If you've got carpets with an underfelt, that's even better than just anyone. But any carpet better than solid floors, like your concrete floors are the worst. It echoes like crazy with that kind of stuff. Sometimes you're in a tiled room, you don't really have that option, you're renting or something like that, but then you put some nice thick rugs, like rugs behind you where you're sitting, so you can obviously move your chair backwards and forwards, but behind you, where you can put some rugs in, that definitely helps.
So you got to go Persian rug shopping.
There we go. And if it's your thing, put it up on the wall. I don't care. Persian carpet shopping on the walls, on the floors. That all helps. It'll definitely all help. Yeah. The next step's curtains. The thicker the better again, just like the carpets. A nice thick curtain helps because you've got that cavity at the back. So where the window pane is to the front of the wall, basically where the curtain hangs, you've usually got about a 50 to 100 mil gap there. So the sound wave will pass through the curtain, hit the glass, come back through the curtain again. So the bigger the gap is better, and the thicker the curtain, the better, because the sound wave, it loses its amplitude as it goes through the curtain, and when it comes back it loses it again. So it's not as effective as an acoustic panel. Don't think you can put curtains up your whole wall and you compensating for a 50 mil acoustic panel. But starting out, definitely start with the carpets, start with the curtains.
Okay, cool.
A few other little bits and pieces. A couch, definitely. We touched on it's made from foam, it's made from polyester filling. Couches definitely do help. It also helps because you've got a second space. You can sit people down, you can chat to them, you can brainstorm on a couch. It's cool. You might have a couch in the garage that you're not even using, or in the basement. You bring that in, you dust it off, you put it in, and it's going to help your acoustics. A nice little trick as well is a bookshelf with lots of books on it. I don't know what it does and why it does it, but your cardboard and your paper absorbs sound to a certain extent, but it's the shape of the book. Each book is a different size, it's a different shape, and the sound actually bounces off there like diffusion. So you've got like a back wall of diffusion if you've got this whole wall of bookshelves with books on it. So that's very cool. That's quite neat. You might have it down your passage, you bring it into your studio, behind shot if you don't like it, or in shot if you like it, and that should also help with diffusion. So there you got your diffusion and you got your absorption around in your fabrics. If you have got a spare mattress lying around, you could put that up on the wall. I know it's a bit extreme, but out of shot, you put a mattress up, it helps exactly the same as your acoustic foam.
Yeah. So you can there's a lot of options that obviously aren't aesthetic, but there are a lot of options. There's a lot of little cheats and stuff that you can already start doing around in your rooms and in your studios to make them sound a little bit better. But at the end of the day, ultimately, if you want to treat this with a professional approach, you're going to have to start looking at panels. And I suggest you get hold of my man Raymond. Raymond, how do we get hold of you?
Okay, cell phone number 072-283-0091. We're on Instagram, Facebook. We've got a website. It's the company's Resonate DB. So the website is www.resonatedb.com, and look up anything Resonate DB. You'll find us on Instagram, you'll find us on Facebook, and on LinkedIn. I've also got a LinkedIn profile there.
Nice.
You'll find some pictures of the work we've done. We specialize in making things unique to the individual.
Right.
You know, that obviously costs a little bit more, but you don't want to have your studio looking like the next guy.
Yeah.
You know, you go up on YouTube and you're like, oh man, I've just paid 100,000 for the studio and it looks like Charlie over there has just done the same thing.
Yeah.
So that's what we specialize in. But if you want something, you just want some quick panels, you want to DIY, do it yourself, we can supply that. But we do full studio kit outs and acoustics if you want as well.
Awesome stuff. I'll put the details and the links below for you to check out. But other than that, this has been another session. This is part one of a two-part episode though. So in the second part of the episode, we're going to see what we do in this studio to make it sound a little bit better.
If you have any questions of your own that you want us to answer in our next session, just send it through to the YouTube channel or comment below.
Yeah.
And we'll be happy to answer it. We'll do another Q&A session with your questions that you can look forward to hearing.
I think that's exciting.
Awesome.
We'll see you guys soon.
Thank you. Cheers, man.
Ciao.